everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you will see a Patreon account. If you click it, you become a member, recommend movies, music, and trailers for me to react to. With that being said, we are here today with a little bit of movie news. So I recently found out that Train to Busan was going to get a remake. Now, me personally, I'm not a fan of this, but let's look at who's involved in the Train to Busan remake. First of all, they're looking at the director. His name is Timo Trahan. I don't even know how to say his name. But my man worked on ABCs of Death and VHS 2. So those are two horror-themed TV show and a horror-themed movie. VHS was a cult classic, kind of like a series that gathered a lot of fans based off of his anthology type storytelling. It's a solid series. I don't remember much about VHS 2, but we'll see about that. I know that ABCs of Death has a lot of hype around it. I never got a chance to watch it, but yeah, I've heard good things. And then we have the man, the myth, the legend, James Wan, who's involved in Saw, Dead Silence, Death Sentence, the Nun, the Conjuring series, Aquaman, and Furious 7. So he's involved in it as well. So James Wan being involved in it kind of gives you a little bit of hope. But then you also have Michael Clear, who was a producer on Lights Out, The Nun, La Llorona, and About Creation. And then you also have Nicholas Atlin and Terry Kay, who are usually known for like animated shorts. James Wan being involved in this project is a plus for me. That gives me that there's signs of hope. But me personally, I'm not a huge fan of remakes being done so fast. I don't like when remakes are done. Like, it feels like Train to Busan just came out not too long ago. Let's see what year it came on. 2016. Train to Busan came out in 2016. I mean, it wasn't really that long ago, literally 5 years ago. So that's kind of quick. I'm not really digging the idea that they're just going to go ahead and bring out a remake that quick. Do I think this is a film that needs to be remade? No, not necessarily. I think that American audience can watch Train to Busan, a Korean version, and appreciate it for what it is. Now, I just can't see myself I can't wrap myself around the idea of having an American remake to Train to Busan. It just basically hits home that the American film industry is losing ideas. Like, they're just running out of ideas, so they're just remaking things. And this isn't something new. Also, the thing that worries me the most is the freaking track record that we have making or remaking Asian films. We have The Tale of Two Sisters, which came out in 2003, and the remake was The Uninvited, which came out in 2009. You have The Grudge remake, 2002, the Japanese version, and 2 years later, the American remake came. Then you have The Ring, 1998. Then 4 years later, you have the freaking Grudge, The Ring, the American remake in 2002. Then you have Old Boy, which is 2003, and then we had the remake in 2013, which was hot garbage. Then you have Dark Water that came out in 2002, and 3 years later got remade in 2005. And I've heard that the American remake is garbage. Then you have The Eye, 2002, and then literally a few years later, 2008, got remade. Shutter, 2004, 2 years later, gets remade in 2008. Post, 2001, 5 years later, gets remade in 2006. The Apartment 1303 gets released in 2007, gets remade in 2012. Don't Look Up gets 1996 and gets remade in 2009. That's a decent span, but I still heard that movie was garbage. One Missed Call, 2003, gets remade 5 years later, 2008. So you see what I'm saying here. All the names of the movies that I literally just named, I can say with almost certainty that the Korean versions or the Asian versions or the Japanese versions are completely better than those versions. Like, seriously, I like the American version of The Ring when I first saw it as a teen. Now, if I go back and rewatch it and compare it to Ringu, I might have some completely different ideas now. I might think completely different about the American remake of The Ring. I might not like it at all. I might think that it's garbage, right? So, do I think that this remake needs to happen? Hell no. Train to Busan is low-key a classic, and I don't think it should be touched. At least it shouldn't be touched this soon. It feels like it's already being remade, and it feels like we just like it just can't. It felt like it came out not too long ago. I don't like the fact that they're remaking this movie so soon. All right, that's my biggest gripe with it. I I'm not a fan of this remake at all. I don't think it needs to be done. I think it's pointless to do. And I think that they should just let it be for at least a short, like at least like 5, 6 more years before you try remaking it. It feels like the soil ain't even hardened yet, and they're already trying to dig it up and try to resurrect it back to life. Like, come on, man. Like, Train to Busan is a classic. It doesn't need to be remade. That movie literally feels like it just came out like yesteryear, and I think that this is pointless. James Wan being behind it gives me hope, and it makes me. And they have a team that seems like it's very horror centered, so it makes me have some sort of hope for this remake. But at the same time, I'm not going to co-sign it because I feel like we can be a little bit more original than just remaking things all the time, right? Like, if there's something that was remade, if it's 10 years, then I can respect a remake. But it's not that long. Like, it really hasn't been that long. This really feels, and then we just had the freaking sequel to Train to Busan, which was garbage. We just had the sequel to that thing, like, not too long ago, and we're already talking about a remake? Dude, I don't even think that maybe the Korean market hasn't even finished with that franchise yet. That's another thing. Maybe you should wait for the franchise to end before you even try to remake it. That might be another thing too. I think that you shouldn't remake a franchise until the franchise is dead in the water, and then you can remake it. But other than that, I'm not behind this. I don't think it's a good idea. What do you think? Do you think that this should be remade? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Whatever the case may be, drop your comment down in the comment section below. Now, this is movie news from Davey from the 80s, and you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. I hope you have a magnificent day. Adios.